Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind podcast, episode 97. Can you believe it? Today talking, how can I progress on my property development journey? Solo episode today. This is a little bit more motivation for you, for those of you who are feeling like you thought you'd be further on or you'd like to be further on. I'll be giving away a few pointers and techniques that will help you on your journey, get you thinking, and hopefully get you motivated to carry on or rock on. Okay, so let's jump on into episode 97. Hello, welcome to episode 97. Like I said, solo episode today. No Bob, just me talking. How can I progress on my property development journey? Now, why am I doing this episode today? Episode 97 as a solo. Well, two things. Bob's not around today, and I thought, what a great opportunity for me to offer what I do best, which is to give people the feeling and empower them to know that they can achieve what they want. And if yours is property development, then you're in for a cracker. I'm going to give you 10 reasons, 10 tips, 10 things that will help you progress further on your property development journey or your property journey. Or you know what? This actually applies to any journey. Before I get started though, giving away the copy of the old Property Millionaires Exposed. Remember what Bob says, page 121, where we learn all about property development, going this week to Jermaine Putaway. Jermaine, that's in the post for you. We will reach out for your address if somebody already hasn't. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to begin with this question. Are you where you want to be on your property development journey or your property journey or on any journey? Right now, are you where you want to be? Or are you a little bit disappointed because you'd hope you'd be a little bit further ahead or had gone a bit faster? Does that resonate with you? Is that how you're feeling? Just reflect on that. And I know there are plenty of areas in my life that I wish I'd been further in or wished I'd done more in, or on a journey that feels like it's taking a long time. And even one of my property developments, that's for sure. But how does that make you feel? For me, it's a little bit of frustration. I feel frustrated, and that's not great because it hijacks our brain and it actually slows us down. So when you're not achieving your goals, apart from feeling frustrated, you can feel a little bit disheartened as well. And it's important to remember that setbacks and challenges are just a natural part of life. They are what happens on every journey to success. And history is littered with a plethora of people who have done amazing things and it's taken a while, or they've had to overcome things, or they've just had to go that extra mile. For some people, it looks like they were an overnight success. It looks like it was easy, but it probably wasn't. They probably did the hard yards, put the time in, went down wrong roads, all of that stuff. I mean, I reflect back to episode 1. Have you listened to episode 1 and then come to now? Holy moly, she is a different woman. So she being me. So just understanding that there will always be frustrations and times where you just feel like, oh gosh, is this ever going to get better? Am I ever going to do this right? Am I ever going to achieve that goal, that thing that I want to achieve? So I'm going to give you some tools today that I know can help you get on track. There's going to be 10 of them. They are very useful. Have a listen and think, okay, I'm going to choose all of these or just a few, to decide that you can do this, you can do whatever it is that you want to. You need to believe you can. Remember CBA. That's my, be clear about what you want, believe that you can, and take action. They are my 3 things, CBA. But today, talking around the progress part of it, the A, probably, the action, which is comes back to the B and the C when we go through this. But number 1, you need to reflect on your goals. So just take some time to evaluate them and determine, are these still relevant? Are they aligned with my values? Is this still what I want to do? Or is it possible that you need to adjust or tweak them? Sometimes we have a goal and it's so old, whatever that is. It could be something that you wanted to achieve a long time ago. And looking back now, it actually needs adjusting because it's unrealistic or it's not really what you want. You're stuck in a theme wanting to do something that's not yours. I can give this a great story here. I wanted to write a book. Well, I didn't actually want to. I suppose in the background I've written a few in my time, but not really published them for different reasons, and written plenty of ebooks. In fact, I've got a really good ebook right now off our website. I think you can get it off there, or it's out there somewhere. I'll let you know. I actually will put the link in below. But anyway, this book I started writing, and it's called 3 Wines In. How to have the self-confidence today to achieve the things you want to in life without the hangover tomorrow. Meaning how to have that energy and that, that confidence that we have after we've had a couple of drinks. We just are a little bit more bulletproof. And how cool would it be if we could take that energy through life? And, having achieved quite a bit, but, started and hit rock bottom a couple of times, I kind of get that. So I wrote this book, and, so much coach training and so many hours of coaching people. I kind of get what works. I understand it. I've been coaching for, it's got to be over 14 years, it must be by now. I need to find those exact numbers, but I have learned a lot, experienced a lot, and done an awful lot of education and work with coaches myself. So I kind of get, how that works. So I wrote this book, but it took me 4.5 years. Oh my goodness, 4.5 years. And there were setbacks on that one. Number one, I wasn't even a writer, so I didn't even know how to be a writer. How do you even start a book? I just started it. Bob and I were on holiday, actually, and he said, you should write the book 3 Wines In. We were having a glass of wine together down in the Hunter Valley, looking out over a paddock, and there's all these kangaroos jumping around. And we were laughing about something, and he said, you're so good at that. You should write a book. It'd be really useful for people. So, there I went down that road. But it's been 4.5 years now, and this book finally comes out. I think I get the finished version to do the final read-through this week or next week. But it has taken so long, and I struggled committing to it. I self-sabotage, which I'm going to get to later. I was worried what people would think or, judge me, and what if I got it wrong. And part of the book talks about a girlfriend of mine who passed away, and that it broke my heart. So I had to deal with some pain, and I had to deal with some fear. I had to deal with so many things. And that stopped me moving forward and not knowing what to do. Oh my gosh, do I publish myself? Do I go to a publisher? People said that's going to take longer. In hindsight, would have been faster. So what I'm saying is, I just needed to reflect, and recently or earlier this year, I was like, that's it. It is going. That was on my beginning of the year goals. This will be done. And I made it happen. So on the property development front, the same thing. One of my property developments has gone really slowly, and that's been affected by COVID, like many people. But it has slowed down my progress in more than one way. It's slowed down my progress for moving forward with money, because I had so much tied up there, and not sort of jumped onto something else or moved forward. I have in a couple of others, but not in a way that I would like to. And I did say to Bob earlier this year, I'd like to do a bigger development by myself. So, and this one's a JV, so it's not by myself. But anyway, they're just examples of me having to experience that, not progressing as fast as I could. So yes, we need to reflect on those. That's number one, and just check that these still align and these are what I want. Then the number 2 thing you need to do is just identify your roadblocks. Like, what are they? Are they internal or external? Internal, are they in your head? Are you telling yourself stuff that's not true? Are you just frightened, like that fear of failure? Is it self-sabotage? Is that part of it? Or is it more external, like you have a lack of money, or you have a lack of education, or you don't have that support around you, you don't have that person helping you, which we'll get to that one as well. But what are your obstacles? Have there been things going on in your life that are external events that have stopped you moving forward? And that's a big one. And working how I do with our mentoring students, that is the thing I work with the absolute most, with the things that get in their way, with how to progress in life and have the obstacles be on the way and not in the way. And if you're still listening to me now, which I hope you are, I would guarantee you have some things going on in your world that are becoming in your way and not on your way. So it's looking at those obstacles that you have, and we turn them into great reasons, because our brain likes to be right, so we justify them. And that's not negative, that's just human behavior. But when you sort of stop and have a look at the obstacles and think, you know what? I'm now going to see this as in the way and not on the way. I remember a few years back, I worked with an elite sportswoman, and she wanted to win an Ironman actually. And this was hers. She was beginning to see things as in the way. And we did a bit of work and we got over that line to start seeing things as on the way. And wow, did life change for her in the sporting arena. So once you can flip your thinking over to, hang on, what are my obstacles? How do I turn these to just life's happenings? Because trust me, we all have life happenings happening. Every single one of us, you listening right now, me, we've all got our own story going on in the background. But we need to find ways to not let them stop us. We need to acknowledge them. And trust me, if yours is learning, if there's a knowledge gap, because I had that with my book, definitely, then I suggest you jump on our workshop. There you go. There's a plug for that. That's at the end of this month. We've got a 3-day online workshop. There'll be a link below. But once you plug those holes in, once you plug the holes into what you need to learn, your life changes. Oh my goodness. You know, mine was, how do I publish, self-publish, not like, in the end, I just went to a publishing company. I hired the woman that would help me, and she helped me get it finished. And she was on my tail, like I'm on our clients' tails, on my clients' tails. She was on my tail to get it finished. And, you know, we're talking next week after 4.5 years. So that worked. The next thing you need to do to further progress your property development journey. So number 1, reflect on your goals. Number 2, identify your obstacles and look at how you can get around those. Number 3, you need to break it down. You need to break down what it is you need to do and make it so small that it's very achievable. Even by me saying, reflect on your goals, for a lot of people it's, where do I find the time, the brain space for that? Do you know what? An example of breaking that down would be tomorrow morning, I'll set my alarm for 10 minutes earlier because that's all it's going to take. And I'm going to sit outside or sit somewhere by myself with a pen and paper and get whatever it is that's in my head out of my head on what I need to do. Like find a site. What do I first need to do to find a site? Break that down and break that down and break that down. Or finish my taxes. Break that down. Okay, I've got to get all my paperwork together, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that. It might be clean your desk, whatever it is that's in your way. You need to break it down. So make your tasks so small that you don't even have to think about them. It's a quick phone call. You've got that phone number out. It is super duper easy. So that is something that you can easily do, and that is one of the absolute best tips I can give you for progressing further. I don't know why I put it at number 3. I should have even put it at number 1, but it might not have made sense then. Okay, let's jump through to number 4. Create an action plan. And that comes from those little wee steps that you took 10 minutes tomorrow morning to write out because you became clearer on your goals and you started micro listing, let's call it that, because then you can create an action plan. And it does not have to be perfect, and it does not have to be huge. It just needs to be a plan that you can follow. And you know what? It's your plan. So you know you have obstacles. So you know, oops, that didn't happen today. Oops, perfect. I will do it tomorrow. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be realistic with what it is that you'd like to achieve. But to create the action plan, we probably have to just reflect on what it is that you want, and it needs to be that decision. I didn't pop this in early enough, and I probably should have. You need to decide if property development is what you want to do. I do often have a conversation, had it yesterday. Do I do property development or do I do property investing? I've already bought a couple of investment properties. And so for some people, they get stuck there for 2 reasons. Investing in property is easy. Well, I started doing that when I was 18. Do it with my eyes shut. You can too. You just buy a property, and often we just get, some people get people to help them. It's not that hard to, buy, invest and hold. What can happen at some point is we get tapped out. So we run out of the capacity to move forward faster. So if you're in that spot there, maybe it is time to develop, because remember, you can develop and hold. So you can become an investor and get your properties for what they cost. Now that's really smart buying. But if you're stuck in that point, that's something that you need to answer for yourself, and not getting caught on that. Just think, okay, I'm here to get to here. What is the goal? What is the end result? Which is going to get me there? Is Is investing going to get me there, or is developing going to get me there? And only you know the answer to that. And they're both super easy. So just make that decision and roll with it. So anyway, we're up to number 4, which is creating the action plan. So you need to get quite detailed here. So some of you will love that. But just decide, how your plan looks and try and stay on track for that. So set yourself deadlines for each step. That could be, okay, by this Friday, I would have done this. I often, in the mentoring program, when I work with people, they say to me, I will have a site by, and they give me a date. And that's perfect, because to do that, they know what they need to do. It will get done to get there. So that holds them to their own game plan. It gives me something to work with them toward as well. Check in with them. How are we going with that? What have you done to get to there? What's working? What's not working? And these are simply questions that you can even ask yourself. So why not? Create that action plan. Number 5. Well, actually, let's stick with number 4. Something I didn't put is create a schedule. If you're busy, and I do find that I work with high achievers. High achievers are people who they're just on a life mission, and they're all different. They're all different types of people, but they have a plan and they know what they want. They've decided. They've made that decision. So once you know what you want and you're busy, because I know you are, then create a daily plan. You know how I said get up 10 minutes earlier? You only have to do that once, but what if you did that every day? That just gives you that much extra time in a week. It's about eking out that little bit of time. Where are you? Because time is often a factor for many of us high achievers. So here I am recording this at 6 a.m. because time is a bit of a factor sometimes. So when we create a daily schedule, mine even factors in when I'm going to do my house play, which is actually housework, but I call it house play because the word, sometimes we see work as a negative thing. So when I'm going to complete that, all the things I'm going to complete, the times of day that I speak with clients, all of that's scheduled out, and I know when I've got my creativity time to do things like this, to have content that's going to serve the community or help others. So there are special times in my day that I do different things. And that's because I have a great schedule, and I just created it. Actually, a coach of mine did about 3 years ago. We created it on Excel, and I've shared it with a few mentoring students. But it's just a great way for you to find those extra minutes, and even notice where you are not being so useful with your time, not being so, what's the word I'm after, where you could tidy things up and just be a bit more in control of it, if that's the way. The next one is seek the right support. Oh my goodness, seek the right support. You need to ask for support from your partner. And I do hear this a lot, and it's a little bit sad. Not a lot, but I do hear it, that sometimes partners aren't supportive. And if that's the case for you, then you need to go and find a partner. I'm not saying change partners, but a friend. You have a friend that will support you. So somebody who you can talk about your development journey with, somebody who is encouraging, and often somebody who doesn't have an agenda. So that's important. So my agenda as a coach, when I work with somebody, is their success. It's not anything but that. And that's the sort of support you want. You don't want somebody who's going to impact it or give you ideas and opinions because they're impacted by your outcome. It needs to be unbiased. It needs to be somebody who's just going to listen and offer you support. And if you find that the support person that you have, even if it's your partner, starts giving you too much of their opinion, be okay to let them know. You do need to let people know if you don't want their opinion, or you don't want them to influence you in a way where you want to make the decision yourself. And the other way, if you're happy for them to do that, that's okay. But just be aware of when people are impacted by your decisions, because they will give opinions based on how it impacts them. Something you need to be a little bit careful of. And so it can be family members as well. You can talk to family members about this. Communities, being around other communities, and dare I say it, working with us in our mentoring program, or even just our normal program where we have our live Q&A every second Wednesday. That's on tonight for those of you who, this won't be out in time, but you know what it is. We have our live Q&A. We're a community where you jump on and you say, hey, it's me. And we say, hey, how you going? And, what's going on for you, that sort of thing. So get that right supportive people that will give you energy as well, and that you can comfortably fit into your life. So speak with people who are going to support you. And just on when it comes to finding a coach or you're looking for a mentor, make sure they offer what you want. And I do hear too often people join up with people's programs and then they come to us and they've been disappointed with what they receive. And this isn't a downplay for that, but just check in that you get what you want. How often do you get to speak to the people? What sort of support do they offer? Find out that stuff, because that is very important. And, sometimes we don't receive what we want. And I've had that happen myself with a coach. She sort of offered a lot, and maybe that was my fault, but the time that I had to work with her, just for me, it wasn't enough. I did need some more. Okay, where are we up to? Number 6, learn from your setbacks. Learn from what has not worked. And that's just, look at what's held you back, look at what's not worked for you, and think, okay, how am I going to do that better? It's like learn from the lesson. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off and think, here I go, I am going again. What can I learn from my experience so far? What can I learn from where I am right now? Have a look at the setbacks you've had, and maybe it's an outside one, an external one. So look at that setback and think, well, what can I learn from that? Why did I allow that from stopping me to progress? Or how did that stop me from progressing? And what can I learn from that experience? And sometimes, again, we don't allow ourselves the time to do that. So allow yourself the time. So that's going to be the second morning, the 10 minutes. Maybe the day 2's 10 minutes earlier. Can just be about the reflection, because you won't learn or move forward unless you acknowledge or realise what that pattern is that's been holding you back. Because this won't be the first time, trust me. This will not be the first time that you haven't achieved what you want, or you're not where you'd like to be. And it is more than likely going to be the same thing that's holding you back. Okay, the next one is stay motivated. Surround yourself with people who make you feel motivated. Listen to podcasts like this. Listen to other podcasts. Get excited about life. Read books. I love audiobooks. They are just, for me, fantastic. I just put one on at night. You can set a timer so you don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. with, a book still going in your ear. But it's just a great way for me to stay motivated. I listen to something and it fills me with energy. You have to think of you as think of your energy level as a cup. And every day when you go to work, or when you give to people, or you might have family or a partner or friends, or you just naturally could be a giving person, but whatever it is, you're giving, you're pouring out all the time from your cup. So to stay motivated, energized and excited, you have to refill that cup. So it is things like property events, our live Q&A, the podcast, other podcasts, things that make you feel energized and excited. They are so vital to your success. So that is number 7. Let's look at number 8. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is stay persistent and adaptable. It is so important that you stay persistent, because trust me, things that are of value, things that are worth doing, they take persistence and adaptability. You have to adapt. How well did we go in COVID? We all pivoted, didn't we? We were here and we had to pivot to do something else. That was the word for COVID, but that should really be the word for life. So you need to stay persistent, because life is going to happen. Things aren't going to always go your way. You need to, like I said before, pick yourself up, dust yourself off and go again. I spoke with a client yesterday, bless him, love him, he's awesome. And he's been on a particular project for a very long time. He's had council setbacks and he's had so many things that have just been really challenging for him. But he's coming to construction. I'm so excited for him. And he's one of the few that I work with outside of the mentoring program. So I do work with the odd client out of there. And it's just so refreshing to see his persistence, and for him to acknowledge how persistent he's been, and he's so adaptable. Now, okay, he couldn't do that, so he had to do that. So he couldn't do that, so he had to do that. He couldn't do that, so he had to do that. And he's just faced the challenges, and at the same time, he's been willing to adapt. And that's key, being willing to adapt. So flexibility and resilience are just key traits when pursuing a goal. So you have to stay persistent Don't give up. Sometimes people, I don't know, I can't find anything in my patch. You need to be persistent and know that you've done everything you can. And then if that patch isn't working, well, then it is time to adapt. But you just need to approach things with that level of persistence. And number 9, celebrate your progress. Oh my goodness, celebrate your progress. I'll be celebrating my solo podcast this morning by taking myself out for coffee. Just something small, but I'll actually go grab a coffee, go sit down at the beach and reflect on this and think, yay, crikey, I will reflect on it. Remember I said at the beginning of the podcast how I felt when I started doing podcasts, and then now it's no problem. It's something I really enjoy doing because I know that those of you that are listening will get a lot from this. So celebrate your progress. It'll help keep you motivated. These all feed into each other. So you'll celebrate each milestone. Even at the end of the week, did you do what you wanted to do? Did you get it done? Yes. How good are you? That sort of thing. These are the traits. These are the things that people who are successful do on a regular basis. And now reassess and adjust if you need to. So reassess your goals. Like periodically, you need to review your progress, and you need to think, you know what, this is no longer working. I need to do this differently. Sometimes you've got to let a few things go. We've had people come to us and they've done courses and they thought they'd be further, and then they just realized that they just didn't find their people, and maybe that, we're their people. So you need to adapt according to what's going on for you and adjust the goal. Maybe here's a great property development one. Perhaps you were thinking, I'm ready to, I want to do an apartment building, and you've been really working on numbers, you've been running fees, that's been what you're heading to, but you just can't make it stack up right now. Maybe you need to reassess and pull that back to townhouses. Maybe instead of an apartment building, it's 4 townhouses. That's the sort of the adjustment part that maybe you need to do. Maybe you need to reassess and adjust your patch. Maybe you need to make it a wee bit bigger. Whatever it is you need to do, just don't be afraid to reassess and adjust if needed. So there you go, people. You've got to remember that success isn't linear. That there will always be challenges, and embrace them, because it's from our challenges that we grow, and it's from our challenges that we just improve as humans. And remember, we are human beings, but we spend a lot of time being human doings. And sometimes we need to sit and just be a human being and spend some time reflecting, spend some time deciding what it is that we want. And doing all of that stuff can be so rewarding for our brain. The small things, like your vision boards, like your visualizing in the morning, all of those small things will help you stay on track. Your morning routine is so vital. It is so vital. I challenge you to create one. And I'd love for you to send me an email and tell me what your new morning routine will be, what it is how you're going to set your morning up for success. Because crikey, setting your morning up for success, it is a game changer. Spending that time planning your day, spending your time being grateful, spending your time visualizing. They don't take long, but they have a massive impact on where you are right now and where you can go. Just going to finish off with sabotage. It is a big one. Sabotage comes in all sorts of forms, and it could be because we're worried about failing, because we think we aren't good enough and can't do something. There are many reasons for self-sabotage, and that's something you really need to look into and own. So if you find yourself not achieving what you want, work through the 10 steps that I just gave you, the 10 tools that I just gave you, and then really have a look at if you're repeating the same pattern over and over. That is definitely a form of self-sabotage. Anyway, fine people, I hope you got some use out of our topic today. How can I progress my property development journey? And I hope you do progress your property development journey. And it is at this point that I will invite you to our 3-day online workshop at the end of May 26, 27, 28. I'm pretty sure it is. There'll be some information about that below. If you don't see the below, you're welcome to send an email to me, admin as in administration, admin@propertymastermind.com.au if you'd like some further info of that. It is a gold 3-day event where you learn property development from a man who's been doing it for 39 years and done over 1.3 billion in property developments. We cover everything you need to know if you want to get started, and it is a phenomenal event. Remember, buy the online and you get the live workshop at the end of the year, November, for free. So you get 2 for the price of 1. So there you go. Any questions, reach out for me. But I hope you have found this podcast really useful, and I challenge you to tell me about your morning routine via email, and I also challenge you to take on some of these tips. And life's too short to be mediocre. It is too short. If you're not where you want to be, it is up to you to change it. So have a fabulous rest of your week, and I shall catch up with you next week. Bye for now.